Okay, let's get into it. The situation at Manchester United right now is, well, it's completely split down the middle.
It really is.
On one side, you have what happened on the pitch, that chaotic, high-energy 4-4 draw against Bournemouth.
Right.
And, for all the defensive problems, a lot of fans felt like that was a real step forward, a tactical breakthrough even. It was just entertaining.
It was, but then almost immediately, that feeling gets completely overshadowed by the off-field drama.
Exactly. We're talking about these explosive quotes from the captain, Bruno Fernandes, breaking his silence about his value, his future. It's a mess.
It is. So that's our mission today, really. We need to try and reconcile these two things that are happening on sort of parallel tracks. We're looking at the British press, some market reports, and this really crucial Portuguese interview.
To figure out how the club navigates this.
Exactly. First, we have to unpack this whole value proposition with Fernandes. Is he the irreplaceable leader they need? Or is he just a calculated $70 million asset for a future project?
And then the second part is looking at the tactics under Ruben Amorim. Was that 4-4 game with all that attack but zero defense, was that a real sign of progress? A sustainable new direction?
It's a huge question.
And the timing of all this is just critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
This $70 million valuation rumor lands at the exact same time as part one of this big interview he did way back in November.
Yes, with the Portuguese channel, Canal 11. So you have these past statements being, well, almost weaponized in the current climate.
So let's start right there with the captain's complaint.
Yeah.
Because this goes way beyond a typical contract negotiation. This is about how he feels the club actually sees him.
It's personal.
In that November interview, he's very clear. He said he felt not valued. What was he actually getting at there? What was the argument?
Well, he tied it directly to his age. It wasn't about his form, it was just about the calendar turning. He framed it as a sort of English football culture problem. He said, and this is a direct quote, that he feels a little on the tightrope because in England, a player reaches 30 and they think he has to remodel.
Remodel? Wow.
Yeah. So his point is that he thinks the club is already looking at him as a declining asset simply because he's getting close to that birthday.
That is a pretty stinging thing to say.
Yeah.
Especially from a player who, is always available. He's never injured. He's always committed.
He stressed that. He said, I'm a player who has nothing to point to. I'm always available. I always give the best of me. But he feels that dedication was just ignored when Al Hilal came in with that big offer last summer.
And that's where this really blows up, right?
That is where it explodes. Fernandes says he's the one who rejected the massive offer from Saudi Arabia. But, and this is the key part, he says he felt the club wanted him to take it.
So he's saying they want the money.
He's saying, and again, another quote, money is more important to them than you. He accused the club of lacking the courage to just make the decision to sell him, and he pointed out that the coach, Ruben Amorim, actually wanted him to stay.
Okay, hold on. We have to pause there because that is a massive contradiction. He's saying now the club wanted him out, but the coach wanted him in. But just a few months ago, back in October, before his 300th appearance for the club, he gave a totally different story to the British press.
Precisely. If you're trying to figure out what's actually true, the timing is everything. In October, the story was, everyone's on the same page. He said very clearly that both the coach and the club wanted him to stay.
And be part of a future project, yeah.
He dismissed the Saudi interest completely. And now, just a few weeks later, these quotes from the November interview get released, and it paints this picture of betrayal and conflict.
So which one is it? I mean, are we supposed to believe the club had this huge change of heart in a matter of weeks? Or is this just strategic timing? Is his camp using an old interview to pressure the new owners?
I think it's probably a bit of both. You can see sources close to the club are scrambling to do damage control. They're being adamant that they want their captain, he's central to their vision, all of that.
Right. Adamant throughout the summer that Fernandes is not for sale.
But the real issue is that this is even a debate. His contract runs to 2027 with an option for another year. But Fernandes himself said back in October he wouldn't even talk about his future until after the next World Cup.
And when a player sets his own timeline like that, regardless of the contract, it just creates instant instability.
It really does.
Which brings us, I think, very neatly to the business side of all this. Let's forget the emotion for a second, just talk about the math. The $70 million calculation.
Okay.
For 5 years, this guy has been their engine. And even this season, playing in a new role, a much deeper role.
The double pivot, yeah. It's a much more constrained role than his usual number 10.
And his stats are still elite. 4 goals, 6 assists in 16 games.
Yeah.
On paper, he looks completely irreplaceable.
He is, statistically. And that point you just made about the double pivot, it actually reinforces his argument about being on a tightrope. The number 10 is all about creative freedom, getting the flashy assists. The double pivot is about defensive discipline, covering ground, thankless work. To keep up that offensive output while doing that deeper role, it's incredible. But this is where the money starts to talk louder than performance.
And the big report is that Manchester United will not resist a $70 million offer. That's the magic number.
That's the number.
But is $70 million really the market rate for a captain of his caliber? A player that important to the team's chemistry? I mean, doesn't selling him at that price just look like a failure?
It looks like a concession, for sure. But the strategic thinking here, which is clearly being driven by Ineos, is all about the future. To get why 70 million is the number, you have to look at their long-term plan.
Which is structured over years.
Chronologically, yeah. 2025 is all about fixing the attack. The big, expensive midfield overhaul that's scheduled for 2026.
So why is this $170 million sale so critical for something that's 2 years away?
It comes down to financial fair play and the need for pure profit. United needs serious cash to fund that midfield rebuild. Selling an asset like Fernandes, who's been at the club a while, his cost is amortized. It generates huge, clean profit on the books.
Okay.
So that 70 million is basically seed money. It's what allows them to go into the 2026 market and be aggressive.
So they're making a cold, calculated bet. They're looking ahead to 2026. Fernandes will be 32. And they figure that onslaught of bids from the Saudi Pro League is going to come anyway.
Al Hilal, Al Ittihad, they'll be back.
And it'll be a distraction right when they want to be focused on the new project.
Precisely. They're trying to get ahead of the market. By setting the $70 million price tag now, they maximize the return on a player who is, nearing the end of his peak value.
Before his contract gets tricky to renegotiate.
Exactly. And that money is already mentally spent. It's earmarked to bring in players like Carlos Baleba from Nottingham Forest, maybe Elliot Anderson, younger, energetic players to build that 2026 foundation. It's pure financial strategy. Sentiment doesn't come into it.
Let's switch gears then to what's happening on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because all of this financial drama is the backdrop for a manager, Ruben Amorim, who is just trying to get some stability.
And he's under pressure. Only 2 wins in 7 league games.
And yet that 4-4 draw against Bournemouth felt strangely positive.
The performance was just night and day compared to the weeks before. Those previous home games, the draw with West Ham, the loss to Everton, they were so bland.
Static.
Totally static. Against Bournemouth, the whole tempo was different. They were intense, they were competitive in duels, they played at full pace, scored some great goals. It was proper, entertaining, attacking football, even with the obvious defensive issues.
And this really pushes back on that narrative that Amorim is too stubborn, that he's tactically rigid. Did he actually make a visible change for that match?
Oh, he clearly adapted. And you have to give him huge credit for doing that in the middle of a crisis. He seemed to shift the team into something closer to a 4-4-2.
Okay.
And that willingness to adapt, to put tempo and intent first, that's a massive sign of growth. One pundit said they could live with that all day long in terms of a performance and a standard.
Because the desire was finally there. That's the DNA the fans want to see.
It is, and you saw that reflected in the fan reaction.
Yep.
After that Everton loss, the boos were deafening.
I remember.
But after the 4-4 draw, no big boos. A lot of fans actually stayed to applaud the team. They were disappointed with the result, of course, but they appreciated the great game of football.
They appreciated the effort, the style.
Exactly. For a club that's been so stagnant, just getting the entertainment bit right is critical. It buys the manager time and goodwill, even if you don't get all 3 points.
But the trade-off for all that entertainment seems to be a defense that is just wide open. You can't build a project on needing to score 5 goals to win a match.
And that is the huge reality check here. We have to be fair. There's a serious injury crisis. When you're missing guys like Dict, Maguire, Martinez, that unit doesn't look like a defense that's going to keep clean sheets.
It looks disjointed.
Completely. The communication isn't there.
Yeah.
That same pundit did the math and figured United probably needed to score 4 or maybe even 5 just to get the win, based on how often Bournemouth were getting through.
So that's Amorim's immediate critical problem.
It is, and it's about to get a whole lot worse because of the African Cup of Nations.
Oh, right, of course.
Losing Ahmad and Brian Bruo for about a month is just brutal timing. It's not just losing squad depth, you're losing pace and directness from that right-hand side, just as the attack was starting to click.
So he's forced to adapt all over again.
Instantly. And the next match is against Aston Villa, a team that is absolutely flying. So it's not just a huge game for the points, it's a massive test of whether his new tactical flexibility can actually hold up when key players are missing.
So really, you have these two completely contradictory stories defining the club. On the pitch, you've got genuine, watchable, entertaining progress under Amram. A new kind of intensity that fans are responding to.
Yes.
But all of that good work is being undermined and overshadowed by this cold financial calculus happening behind the scenes about the team's most important player.
It's the ultimate tightrope walk, isn't it? Between finance and feeling. Bruno's whole complaint is that the club values the money more than the player, especially an aging player.
But the club's strategy seems to be that they have to cash in that $70 million asset now.
They see it as essential. They need that pure profit to fund the midfield rebuild in 2026 that they see as structurally vital. It's the business plan versus the team sheet in its purest form.
And that leaves us with the final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over as United heads into that Aston Villa game. If this recent performance shows that the tactics and the intent are finally starting to work, is the club's willingness to sacrifice a player like Fernandes for a specific price tag a smart, modern necessity for the long-term project?
Is it just what's needed to ensure financial health and future success?
Or is it a short-sighted move that's going to completely shatter team chemistry, leadership, and stability right now in the near term? It's a decision between trying to win now or trying to win later.
And it looks like United is betting their captain on the outcome.